How's it going, everybody? Chris Cart's back. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, our first of 5 returns today, and Happy New Year. 2023 is finally upon us, and of course, just like that, it'll be over within a blink of an eye. So make the most of it, my friends, and send out as many requests as humanly possible. Let's see if I can finally get this out. This envelope looks like it's already been opened. And it is Ed Hobaugh. Ed Hobaugh, former Michigan State Spartan. Signed beautifully there. 63 tops, 62 tops, and a 1960 tops rookie star card. Love getting those rookie star cards signed. He pitched 3 years in the bigs for the Washington Senators between 61 and 63. Like many old-timers from his era, he both started and relieved his fair share of games. Ed Hobaugh. Very nice to get this back. Some vintage to start the new year off. Let's find out who will be in envelope numero dos. Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our next return. Quite a few cards in here from the feel of it. Let's see. We've got Jay Aldrich, pride of Montclair State University. Go Redhawks. Signed on the 88 score with a black Sharpie. 88 Donruss. 88 tops Tiffany. A Denver Zephyrs card, and let's throw in a Fleer card just to get all the makes and models in there. From the late 80s, Mr. Jay Aldrich, 3-year career. 2 of those years with the Brewers, spent most of his time pitching for them, got into 55 games with them. Unlike Ed Hobaugh, he never started a single game in the bigs. He was a reliever through and through, and he was also a replacement player in 1995. Google that, kids. That was a weird time to be a baseball fan. 2 of these cards I got from my Sears value pack that I begged my mom to buy me out of the Sears catalog 30 plus years ago. In fact, here is the box. And it is untouched from when I opened the cards many, many years ago. There they all are. As you can see, there's some Pacific cards in there, Pacific Legends cards in there. There's those minor league Denver Zephyr cards that you see here of Jay Aldrich. And you've got 88 score in there as well. And those are the 2 cards I picked out of this box to send to Jay, as well as a few other cards. I've always had an affinity for 88 score and their design. I wonder if that might just be a little nostalgia from this opening up this box, because at this time I couldn't find score cards anywhere where I lived in New Jersey. So just had tops, basically. So these score cards were foreign to me, and I always thought they were kind of cool. But obviously they're just overproduced junk like everything else from that era. But when I'm a kid, I don't know that stuff. So anyway, here's the box, and there's the cards. I know I've mentioned this before, but it's still pretty awesome that I dug this out of storage not that long ago, and everything's still in there just the way it was. So sorry I took so long on Jay Aldrich. I had to tell that story. I love it. Anyone else out there get these Sears baseball value packs? The shipping label is still on there, but it's faded. I can't see anything except our old address of 82 Charlestown Road, Hampton, New Jersey. 08827, way back in the day. All right, gang, let's move on to return number 3. Let's do it. All right, gang, after that last return, I'm feeling pretty nostalgic all of a sudden. Salt Lake City, Utah, our very next return number 3. And we've got Dane Orge. Dane Orge there in his Kansas City uniform, a World Series champion in 85 with the Kansas City Royals, beating the Cardinals, his other team from the 82 World Series, where he also has a ring. In fact, he had 2 at-bats in the 85 World Series, and one of those at-bats was in Game 6. Can't screw that up. Game 6, walk-off, pinch hit, 2-run single to take it to Game 7 against his former team. Holy cow, get out your pitchforks and torches. Chris Card sent way too many cards to Dane, but he signed them all beautifully, including a couple cards for the set, 87 tops and 84 tops. Very nice. Chris Cards, guys. That's in the name. My last name is Cards. Of course, I'm going to send too many cards. 3, 6, 7. Oh, why do I need 7 Dane Orge cards signed? Good question. But I got them. And you know what? They look great. Very nice. Looks like I got a Tiffany signed by him. The 87 tops looks very Tiffany-ish, so came out really nice. Dane Orge, 10-year career, first-round draft pick of the Phils in 1971 out of BYU, as I mentioned. In fact, I think I mentioned all the colleges so far. Let's see if I can keep that going. And 22nd overall by the Phils in 71, 10-year career, 8 with the Cards, and of course, 2 World Series rings. Pretty awesome. Dane Orge, his brother Garth, also played and is also a great signer. And I think they're Mormon, which means they have to sign everything you send them. It's in the book. It's in a good book. And let's move on now to our fourth return. All right, my friends, no surprise who this is from. It's our former Senator John McCain. Joe McLean. Sorry, Joe McLean. Former Senator Joe McLean. In fact, he spent his entire career with the Washington Senators. In fact, this former University of Tennessee volunteer was drafted in the expansion draft back in 1960 by the Senators and also got their very first win on April 14th, 1961. He pitched a 7-hitter for their first win in their second game. So we got the very first win of the Senators/Twins franchise. That's pretty sweet. Had a really pretty good first year with the Senators. Started 29 games, had a 3.86 ERA. He did not do very good the next year, getting sent down pretty early in the season, and by 1963, he was out of baseball. So, of course, he was a 27-year-old rookie when he came up, so he was already kind of getting up there in years. So, not sure if it was injuries or what that kept him from coming back to the bigs. But, yeah, he had one really decent year and then a terrible year, and then he was gone, basically, from baseball. So, good old Senator Joe McLean signed beautifully there. Another star rookie card from 1961, as you can see, a little more subtle than the 60 rookie star card you guys saw earlier of Mr. Hobaugh. And of course, 62 tops as well. 2 of each because you know why? I think that's all they made of him. 61 tops, 62 tops, and he signed the index card. God bless him. Let's move on now to our final return. By the way, it's 2023, and I just got autographed baseball cards from a guy that played for the Washington freaking Senators. How cool is that? Oh my God, I'm feeling my oats today, guys. Let's move on to our final return of the day. Our next return comes from the Metroplex, Michigan. See who we have in our final return of the day. We got some more vintage. We got Ray Herbert. Ray Herbert, talk about an old-timer, and I thought Joe McLean was an old-timer. Ray Herbert here signed these cards very nicely. He came up in the 50s with Detroit. And looks like I got just a bunch of 60s cards of his in here. But he does have at least a 54 tops, 55 tops as well, 58, I do believe. But 52, he was in the military. He did not play. Thank you for your service, Ray. Thank you for these autographed cards. They are super sweet. Proud of Detroit Catholic High School out of Michigan. Spent 5 years with the Kansas City Athletics, 4 with the Detroit Tigers, 4 with the White Sox, and a couple of years with a few other teams as well. 1962 All-Star. He was a player that, like Mr. Hobaugh from earlier, he was a starter and a reliever. He's got his saves and wins in the same year as well as complete games, and they did it all back in the day. So everything is so specialized now. Game is a lot different, of course, but there's his information now. Now, be careful sending off to Mr. Herbert. He's been refusing mail recently, so at 93 years of age, I am going to go ahead and guess he is probably done signing. That is what my spidey senses tell me, my TTM senses tell me. So, had a good run. Lots of great cards out there available on the internet signed by Mr. Ray Herbert, and not that expensive either, except the 50s apparently, because I didn't buy any, so they must have been too rich for my blood. But happy to get these cards signed by Mr. Ray Herbert, and that is it, guys, for Through the Mail Monday. Once again, number 207. Hope everyone enjoyed it. Hit that like button down below. Comment down below as well. Let me know what you guys thought of these here cards. And, of course, hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. I do this every single week. Would love to have you along for the ride. And good one. Nice haul today, Mr. Aldrich. Lots of good guys, Mr. Orge and Mr. Ray Herbert, Hobaugh. Good mix of vintage and not really vintage, but, you know, junk wax era. That's always fun. A lot of the players I grew up watching as a kid, so I gravitate more towards those players. And, yeah, I didn't collect during pretty much the early 2000s to maybe the early 2010s, so I got this big gap of players I just don't have cards of. So I really want to start tackling some of those players that do sign during those eras that maybe, you know, I have less affinity towards. Not because I didn't watch them play, because I've been watching baseball my entire life. Every single Met game, every single year for as long as I can remember. So I've seen all these guys play. So it's not that. I just don't have their cards. So, yeah, maybe I'll see if I can relocate some cheap sets from those years. Maybe you guys can give me some advice and start tackling some of those more modern players that have been out of the game for 10, 15 years, as opposed to all the 80s guys who are, of course, all great signers. But, you know, just mix it up a little bit. I am going to eventually run out of these guys, and I will I'm coming up, I think, on my 4-year anniversary here. 2023. My first video was like early January of 2019. That's 3 years? 4 years? Yeah, I think I am. Anyways, what's 207 divided by 52? That's probably actually pretty easy to do in your head, but I'm not going to do it right now. I'm going to end this video. I've rambled on long enough during all these returns. Hopefully you guys bear with me as I relive my youth. And that is it, my friends. Thank you for watching. See ya. Alrighty here, let's take a trip down memory lane here for just a couple of minutes here and see what we've got in this box. It's been a while. I mean, Joe Adcock, Joe Tinker. This box is trolling me. Kurt Simmons. All right, there we go. Al Rosen. These Pacific Legends cards, I think. So many oddball vintage cards. Not vintage, but just 80s era throwback cards. Catfish Hunter, R.I.P. I'd like to get some of these signed. I've seen a few of these sets. I've seen the Pacific Legends set, I think, from 88. I think I've almost seen that entire thing signed. I don't know what these cards cost me back in 1989, 90. Here's Robin Yount. Here's some 88 score. All right. Here we go. Willie. All right, some cards of value. I don't see any cards of value. This was probably like 30, 40 bucks. Maybe it was cheaper. Maybe it was cheaper. That's why I asked my mom for it, because I know she'd probably more likely get me the cheaper box than the more expensive boxes. This was Wish Book, by the way. Wish Book. That's what the Sears catalog was called back in the day when Christmas time was coming. You get the Wish Book in the mailbox, and you got excited. I went through that whole thing, cover to cover. You know, I skipped all the, the clothing stuff. Well, most of the clothing stuff. But looked at the toys, of course, mostly. And there's some tops in here. I didn't think there was any tops in here. There's Score with the multicolored Score cards. And anybody collect any of these oddball sets? I could probably go through that Fritz magazine and probably buy them out of there. That Fritz's magazine or whatever it's called. Any of you guys get that in the mail every, I think it's like 2 or 3 times a year. This guy looks familiar. Murtaugh? All right. Don Drysdale. Mickey Mantle, here we go. That card's probably a couple bucks, right? Someone would pay a few bucks for that. All-time Expos, Raleigh Fingers. I can get that signed for, what, 10 bucks? I think it is. Kind of a dark card to get signed, though. Here's the AAA cards. Bisons, Zephyrs. It's only 2 teams. It was only the Bisons and the Zephyrs. Just, literally, team sets. These are, for repack, at least you get these old-timer cards. In fact, back in the day, a lot of these guys probably still alive TTM'd. I guess I could have used all these cards as good TTM material back in the day, and I didn't. That's kind of sad. Missed opportunity there. I did buy the address list book. I think it's Smalley's. Was it Ray Smalley? His guide out of the Wish Book 1 year. I still have that, too. And I think I just sent to... Wally Whitehurst in Hawaii and never got anything back. And I was, I think, too afraid to send any other cards. So that was my first foray into TTM. Spent probably too much on that book and then never used it.